Yeah, we'll begin with the class. So I thought we'll have a recap of what we did of non-ideal solution. We have discussed the difference between non-ideal. In that non-ideal, you have two, no? One is showing a positive deviation and the other shows a negative deviation. So quickly we'll go through this because even this topic is important, okay? Like I told you, ideal and non-ideal difference is important. In the non-ideal also, the positive and the negative deviation difference is even important, okay? With the example, you should remember, because if they give you example, you should be knowing which deviation these molecules are showing, okay? And remember students, here this whatever topic we are doing here, it comes under liquid and liquid, okay? Solution where we have taken both the solute and the solvent as a liquid, okay? So, and you know, solutions are the homogeneous mixture. So here the two mixtures which we are discussing are homogeneous. You know the meaning of homogeneous, correct? In the beginning itself I've told you, solutions, when we are discussing about solution, we are talking about the homogeneous mixture. When you mix two substance, it appears as one liquid to you. You can't differentiate that there are two components present, okay? So here we are talking about homogeneous, not about the heterogeneous mixture, okay? This is one point for you all to remember, okay? And this particular topic comes when you mix the liquid and the liquid, okay? Liquid one solute and the liquid as a solvent, okay? So in the positive and the negative deviation, you know, non-ideal solutions doesn't obey the Raoult law. Okay. So they don't obey Raoult's law, and you have seen that they show a deviation. So two possibilities we have got. Either they can show a positive deviation from the Raoult's law, or they can show the negative deviation. Okay. So I have directly started with the reason why they are showing. Okay. It's a revision, you know, because we have done last time also. So if I take this as a solvent, okay, A as the solvent and B as the solute, between the solvent and the solvent there is interaction, okay? And between the solute also there is interaction. Between the solute particles there are interaction. Now when you are mixing them together, this A and B you have combined. Now A and B are mixed together to form a solution now. Okay, so now when the solution is being formed, if it's a positive deviation, what has happened is the force of attraction which is there between A and B, okay, that is found to be less than whatever they had before. Okay, between their own particles, whatever force they had, that was much stronger than compared to what they have at present. Okay, when they are forming a solution, okay, that time the force of interaction has become less than compared to whatever was present initially. Okay, so that's the reason why it is positive deviation. And then the next one, in the second case, when they are showing negative deviation, in that case what has happened is when you have mixed this A and B, okay, A and A had interaction, B and B also had interaction, but this AB is there, no? When the AB solution was formed, this AB interaction was found to be stronger than compared to what they had before. Okay, so this is stronger. So when the interaction is stronger, automatically what are the things you are observing? Stronger and then weaker. Okay, so then comes that volume and the enthalpy changes, what you are observing. Okay, so now here A and B interaction is found to be stronger than compared to what they had between AA and BB. And here in this case, the first case where they are showing positive deviation, the force of interaction between the solute and the solvent particle is found to be weaker than what they had before. Okay, so then you see all this, no? When you mix the two liquid, where you are supposed to be expecting 20 ml, you get more than 20 ml. That is because of positive deviation. Okay, so if it is positive deviation, you have seen that A and B particles are far from each other. It's like almost repulsion is happening. So whatever forces were there before, compared to that now, it's still far, okay? The force of attraction is still far. It's like more about the repulsion which is taking place. Okay, so when there is repulsion, you know the area occupied also will be larger. So when the area occupied is larger, your volume also will become larger. Okay, so that is the reason why this shows a positive deviation. Okay, your volume you will find is more than compared to whatever is being expected. And in the other case, when you are mixing two liquids, since the force of attraction between A and B, I have put them closer, okay, because the force of attraction is larger here. So when the force of attraction becomes larger, you know that they will come closer by. When they come closer by, automatically the overall volume also will decrease. Okay, so it will become less than whatever you have expected. So here you will get a negative value. Okay, you will get less because overall volume is going to decrease. Now why that increase and decrease has happened? Because of the heat energy. Okay, so now here in this case of positive deviation, the heat absorbed is more than compared to whatever is released. They are not releasing it because why? Because there is no bond as such developing. Okay, when the more amount of bond develops, when the bond formation takes place, that time more amount of energy is released. It's like you have to give them and they are not forming that bond. Okay, just for them to stay in the form of solution, if you want to dissolve and you expect more solubility to take place, then you have to supply more energy, because they are not going to put any effort from their side, because they are not at all interested. It is like that. Okay, so heat absorbed is going to be more than compared to whatever is being released. So your delta H value is there, no, that will be positive. Okay, and in the other case what happens is, because here when you have mixed them, since they are forming large amount of, like, there is a force, large amount of force of attraction between the A and the B particle, you know that more amount of energy will be released than compared to whatever is being absorbed, because force of attraction is larger, and when there is two force acting between the two component, amount of energy will be released. Okay, so here they are doing certain amount of work in forming that bond, so energy is released. Your delta H value will become more negative than compared to what is absorbed. Okay, and then depending on this now, force of attraction, we are even talking about the vapor pressure. What happens to the vapor pressure in this positive and the negative deviation? Okay, so depending on intermolecular forces, you should be even able to answer about the vapor pressure. Okay, so talking about the weaker interaction here. Okay, when A and B particles are having weaker interaction, so you know that here in the solution case they will not be interested in staying. Okay, so in that case what will happen is, more amount of these particles will try to go into the vapor phase. Little amount of heat energy is enough for them. Okay, so they will have more escaping tendency than compared to staying in the solution. Okay, reason is this, because of the weak force of attraction which is present between them. Okay, they are not interested in staying in that solution form. Okay, so they want to be existing in the separate gaseous phase, so they will require little temperature to go into the vapor phase. Okay, and in the other case what will happen, in the second case where they are having strong interaction, if the interaction between the A and B particle is very strong, that means they are having a strong force. They will stay in that solution, correct? No, this A and B, when they have formed the solution, since the interaction is very strong, they would like to stay there. Okay, so if they are liking to stay, less will be the tendency to escape. Okay, so the amount of molecules you will find in the vapor phase, you can see here, very less than compared to the before one. Okay, because here tendency of interaction is stronger, no, so less number of molecules you will find in the vapor phase. Okay, so your overall vapor pressure which is there, okay, for this the vapor pressure will be less if the interaction is stronger, and in this case the vapor pressure is going to be more because the interaction is weaker. Okay, and then when you see the graph, when you draw the graph in terms of ideal behavior is this, no, ideal behavior will give you a straight line. Okay, so with respect to that, when you are drawing the graph, you can see here, since you have seen now vapor pressure is higher, so everywhere you will see that, okay, the overall vapor pressure of this solution is going to be greater than compared to the original one. Okay, so original was this, whatever we were expecting for ideal condition, but now this is not ideal behavior. So since the force of attraction is weaker, more amount of gases have escaped here in the vapor phase, so you will see a deviation, a positive deviation, a bulged graph you can see over here. Okay, so everywhere you find the vapors are more than compared to the original one. Okay, and then in case of negative deviation, where the force of attraction is larger, so when the force of attraction is larger, okay, you see that the vapor pressure has become very less. Okay, so if the vapor pressure is less, automatically when you are plotting the graph, you will get in the downward direction. Okay, so you can see that the graph is going in a downward direction because vapor pressure has become less than compared to whatever was expected. Okay, so you get this kind of a graph happening for negative deviation and this kind of a graph for the positive deviation. So positive deviation, upper one. Okay, negative deviation, you know, it's lower one. Okay, And then I discussed even the example where the molecules are showing positive deviation. Okay, so that is your ethanol and acetone. Okay, most of the alcohol will come here in the positive. Okay, if you want to remember example, okay, minimum at least 2 you remember. But the one who want to score well, they should remember almost everything. Okay, because with respect to example also, you can expect, I said, questions can be expected. So ethanol and acetone, positive deviation. Ethanol and water also shows positive deviation. Okay, and then for negative deviation, you are having acid. You can see here HCl and water I have taken first one. Then nitric acid and water shows negative deviation. Okay, then again for positive deviation, here you can see carbon tetrachloride and chloroform. That side you have chloroform and acetone. Another one is phenol and aniline. Okay, so this side, because the reaction is more stronger, so exothermic, and this are endothermic. Okay, so if you want the solubility to be more, you have to supply more energy over here, and the amount of energy will be released will be very less. Now, was this point clear? Yes. Okay, good. Now I've just explained this example. Okay, here I have just taken this example like why the positive and why the negative deviation. Okay, based on the intermolecular forces. You can just listen to this. Okay, you need not write because isn't required. Okay, you can just remember. The one who really wants to write, you can make a note of it. Okay, so now here, see, first one I've taken acetone and ethanol. See, now between acetone and acetone particles, no, acetone molecule, one acetone molecule, like this you will have many thousands of acetone molecule in one solution. Okay, so between them, these acetone particles, the force of attraction which is existing, no, that is van der Waals force of attraction between them. Okay, and coming to ethanol, between the ethanol and ethanol molecule, there is hydrogen bonding. Okay, you know among this which is stronger, no? Everyone knows this, correct? Between van der Waals force and hydrogen bonding, which is stronger bonding? Which force of attraction is stronger? First one or second one? This I will label as first. You can tell me first or second. Which force of attraction is stronger is my question. First one is stronger or second one is stronger? Second one, correct? No, yeah, very good, correct. Second is more stronger. Hydrogen bonding is more stronger. No, you have learned in the states of matter, and even when I have done the solid state, okay, when we have discussed the force of attraction, you have learned that van der Waals, okay, very good, many have answered. Second one is a correct answer. Okay, so hydrogen bonding is a stronger one. Okay, because you have here more electronegative atom present and less electronegative atom having interaction. Okay, so that is little more stronger. Then compared to van der Waals force is the weakest force, no? Among the van der Waals also, you have like the London force, which is the weakest force which you can expect. Okay, so now between these particles, okay, acetone particles, when you are taking, they have van der Waals, and ethanol is having hydrogen bonding. Now when acetone is added to this ethanol, okay, what happens is these acetone particles will come in between the ethanol molecules. Okay, so they will disturb the hydrogen bonding. So whatever force they had before, okay, now between this ethanol particle, there was strong hydrogen bonding. When acetone is added, they come and occupy in between. No, like imagine this is acetone particles which are coming and disturbing the bonding between the ethanol, because many ethanol molecules will have bonding between each other. It's like a network, okay? And these are coming in between and they are disturbing the hydrogen bonding. So then when the solutions are formed, this acetone and ethanol will not have a strong bonding because ethanol was happy with ethanol then compared to ethanol and acetone. Okay, so then automatically you will see that the bonding between acetone and ethanol decreases, which will lead to more vapor pressure. Okay, so you will see that more vapors will be formed above the solution. Okay, got this one? Why positive deviation? Same thing with the ethanol and water also. Okay, but bonding is almost similar now here. Hydrogen bonding, ethanol has hydrogen bonding and water also has hydrogen bonding. But in the water, the number of hydrogen bonding is greater than compared to ethanol. So when ethanol is added to water, So that time, what happens is the number of hydrogen bonding which is there between the water molecules, it will decrease. Okay, so that leads to positive deviation. Okay, the force of attraction will decrease, no, that time, because these are coming and occupying in between. So then it leads to positive deviation. Okay. Now coming to the negative deviation, when the negative deviation happens, like in this case, I have taken this example. Okay, that is this one is acetone here, CH3, C double bond O CH3. Okay, acetone molecule it is. The way it is written is little different. You should be able to recognize the molecule however it is been written. Okay, the way it is written can change. So now here this is acetone molecule, and the other side, what is that molecule? CHCl3. Okay, that is chloroform. Okay, here what we have is chloroform, CHCl3. Okay, so now between this, no, acetone and acetone, you have seen there is van der Waals interaction. Okay, and between the chloroform molecule also they have van der Waals interaction. But now when acetone and this chloroform are mixed together, okay, what happens here is this oxygen which is there, okay, on the like the oxygen which is attached to the carbon with a double bond, you can see here. Okay, so this oxygen will form a hydrogen bond with the hydrogen of the chloroform here. Okay, you can see a hydrogen bonding taking place. So initially the force of attraction which they had was van der Waals and van der Waals, which was weaker force. Okay, now when they are mixed in the solution form, they are having a hydrogen bonding which is a stronger bond. Okay, so now here automatically when the bond has become stronger here, okay, the molecules will come closer by and they show a negative deviation. Okay, so here this hydrogen bonding, you may get one doubt here, because you remember hydrogen bonding can exist between hydrogen and the most electronegative element. Okay, that is nitrogen, oxygen, and then fluorine. These are the electronegative atoms which will show hydrogen bonding. But then that hydrogen also should be attached to electronegative atom. Here hydrogen, if you see, is not attached to electronegative atom, it is attached to carbon. But what is being found is, okay, this is one exceptional case I can tell you. Okay, so here what happens is, in this case, you can see 3 chlorine atoms are there, and all the 3 chlorine atoms are electronegative in nature. You know the speciality of electronegative atom. What electronegative atom does is they try to pull all the electron towards themselves. So all the electron density which is there, okay, will go towards the chlorine atom, and carbon will become almost deficient of electron. Okay, so when they become deficient of electron here, what they try to do is they try to get that electron through the hydrogen. So it is found that this electronegativity of carbon in that case almost become equal to nitrogen. So when the electronegativity values comes almost to these element, then they can show hydrogen bonding. Okay, that is the reason why this hydrogen can bind with the oxygen, because this carbon's electronegative value comes out to be almost to the nitrogen atom. Okay, so that's the reason why hydrogen bonding is possible. Otherwise, hydrogen attached to less electronegative atom cannot show hydrogen bonding. That also you should keep in mind. Okay, it only happens because of presence of these electronegative atoms attached to them. Okay, so I believe it's clear now. It is just an explanation. And then next one is strong acid and water. You have seen all of them showing negative deviation. Okay, this you might be knowing also, because in your high school also you have learned, correct? No, when we are diluting an acid, you should always add acid to the water, correct? Always we add acid to the water, because the reason is the reaction is exothermic in nature. Lot of amount of heat energy is released during the process. Okay, it's exothermic. So when the reaction is exothermic, it will show negative deviation. Okay, why negative deviation? Because large number of ions will be formed here. When you add acid to the water, ions are formed. That ions will have strong bonding with the water. So you know, when the bonding takes place, when ions are having bonding with this water, okay, energy will be released. So it is showing negative deviation. Okay. So these are like how will you remember the example? Okay, not just by hearting, understand the example and then you will be able to remember it. Okay, clearly you will not have a confusion. And then even aniline and phenol, which is the last example. Aniline and phenol, see the structure here. Phenol, you know, benzene ring with OH group. Okay, this is phenol. OH group, and aniline where we have benzene ring with NH2 group. Okay, this is our amine group. Okay, NH2 group is amine group, and this is our alcohol group, no, OH group. So now here, between alcohol, that is the phenol and phenol has hydrogen bonding, and aniline also has hydrogen bonding, because you can see here hydrogen is attached to electronegative atom. But when phenol and aniline is mixed together, it is found that this hydrogen bonding which is there between phenol and nitrogen is much stronger than compared to what they had between phenol and aniline. Okay, so it is showing negative deviation. Yes, so this is all about the example. Okay, just an explanation about the example which I've done, so that you will easily remember it. Okay, so for negative, always you see most of the time it is acid reacting with the water. Acid with water, you can remember, they will always show negative deviation because energy is released. And if you want to remember the example for the positive deviation, you can remember alcohol. Okay, alcohol you have seen with acetone and alcohol with water. Minimum at least 2 if you are able to remember properly. Okay, so now we are done with this part. Okay, difference between the positive and the negative deviation. Now I'll go for the next topic. Okay, it's connected to this, connected topic it is. Okay, now see this diagram, students. When you observe this diagram, okay, of both this positive and the negative deviation, if you have a detailed look of this graph, can you see at one point, this point, can you see here, over here? You can see at this point the vapor pressure is very high, correct, no? At this point over here. And then in the second graph, you can see at this point the vapor pressure is very least. For the negative deviation at this point, the vapor pressure is very least. And for the positive deviation at this point, they are showing a higher vapor pressure. Okay, and this happens at one particular composition. As I draw the line downwards, okay, I will get the composition at which it happens. Okay, at what x value of one component, what is the x value over here, and what will be the x value for the other component. Okay, so at this composition, when you get this composition, a very large deviation is shown, even for the negative one. Okay, at this particular composition, a very large deviation is shown. Okay, positive as well as negative. Okay, so if they are showing at this point, that is called as azeotropes. Okay, this give rise to a special class of a mixture which we call as azeotropes. Okay, that is our next point of discussion. Okay, I'll repeating. Okay, what I said just now is, when you have a look at this graph, both the graph and you are observing, you can see one point where you see that the vapor pressure for the positive deviation is maximum. Here the vapor pressure is maximum, and that happens at one particular composition. Okay, x value will have one composition here. Your solute and the solvent will have one composition. Okay, at this point you get vapor pressure maximum. Similarly, you can see here vapor pressure for the solution has become minimum at this point, and when you drop the line downwards, you see at one particular composition this happens. Okay, at only one composition it happens. Okay, not all the composition, because at different composition you can see it's a different behavior. Okay, only at this point you can see that they are showing a drastic change. Okay, so that special case of mixture is called as azeotropes. And azeotropes are happening only for binary. Okay, not when you add more than 2 or 3 solute, not for that. Binary mixtures, you remember, where you have one solute and one solvent. Okay, so let's understand what is the definition for these azeotropes. These are binary mixtures, okay, where you have one solute and you are having one solvent. Okay, one solute and one solvent having same composition, okay, in the liquid and the vapor phase. Means whatever a mole fraction, okay, of the component you are getting in the vapor phase. Okay, like if I have this as a solution, okay, here whatever mole fraction you are getting, same mole fraction if you get in the gaseous phase also. Okay, this will be your gas phase, this will be your liquid phase. Okay, for both the component, if you get same composition in the liquid phase and in the vapor phase, that is what we are meaning. Okay, then they will boil at a constant temperature. Such mixtures are called as azeotropes. Okay, and if they are boiling at constant temperature, means both the liquid will come together. Okay, here usually two liquids have different temperature, but here the speciality is that at that one particular composition, see here this point I told you, okay, at this point Okay, when the composition comes out to be this over here, okay, that I will tell you for one example. I will tell you what are the exact composition. But at that composition, you will find that two liquids, okay, both the liquid will come together and they will start boiling at a constant temperature. If that happens, no, what problem is, if both the liquid come together, then you cannot separate them. Okay, it is not possible to separate by fractional distillation. So fractional distillation cannot be done for those liquids. Okay, separating becomes difficult when they reach that particular composition. Okay, such mixtures are called as azeotropic mixtures. Okay, now little more detail I will go about this. Okay, we will not go too much into it because your topic is limited to the definition and the types. Okay, because this topic itself is for 3 hours or 4 hours, you can keep learning. But now for whatever for your syllabus is required, only that much I will be doing. Okay, so you can understand now here azeotrope, I said, you can remember this point. They are binary mixtures where the composition in the liquid phase and in the gaseous phase will be same. Okay, and if that happens, if your mole fraction, okay, mole fraction, or even you can calculate in terms of percentage, if your mole fraction of the component in the vapor phase becomes equal to the mole fraction of the component in the liquid phase, then in that condition these will boil together. Okay, so then they will boil together at a particular temperature and it becomes very difficult for us to separate by fractional distillation. I will tell you what is fractional distillation, then again I will get back to this definition, then it will be more clear. Yes, now I will go for, first we will understand what is fractional distillation. I don't know whether you remember, maybe in your high school you might have had about this. Okay, so I will go to this fractional distillation, then I will get back to this azeotrope once again. Okay, so now when you have two liquids, okay, when you are mixing two liquids, fractional distillation is done during that time. Okay, when you have mixture of two liquids and heat them, so that time whatever you observe, that comes under fractional distillation part. Okay, so this is the setup. You can see here diagram. I believe everyone can see the diagram here. Okay, so this setup, diagrammatic setup, you can see here, that's for fractional distillation. Okay, yes, very good. Correct, correct. Yes. Okay, so fractional distillation is done when you have two liquids and if their difference in the boiling point is less than 25 degrees Celsius. Okay, means they are near to one another. Not, see, there are distillation of different categories. We have normal simple distillation, then there is fractional distillation, there is steam distillation. Okay, like there are different kinds of distillation which is being performed depending on what kind of liquids are. Suppose if the difference in the boiling point is very large, then you don't have to take this column here. This column, you can see, this column is called as fractionating column. Okay, so now I will tell you once again, if the temperature difference between them is very large, we don't have this column. Okay, so that time what you can do is, you can take two liquids. Okay, two liquids will be taken over here, and then among the two liquids, you know, one will be more volatile and the other one will be less volatile. That is very true, correct? No, one will come out easily and one will take time to escape because of the force of attraction. Okay, so one we say as more volatile and one will be less volatile. So if that is the case, the more volatile one will come first. Okay, and then you can separate them here, like it will get collected over here and then remove that liquid, and after some time the next liquid will start coming. Okay, so normally you can remove, the next one will be remaining in the this thing round bottom flask itself, you can remove. That is simple distillation. Okay, now fractional distillation, I said, it is done when the temperature difference between them is less than 25 degree. Okay, that means that the two liquids can escape out together. Chances are there, one after the other, the next one, like one liquid has come and immediate after that the next one can also come. Okay, so in that case, you don't want the second one to come and interfere with the first liquid, then we use this column. Okay, this fractionating column is used at that time. Okay, just to speed down the speed of the two liquids. Okay, so one can come and escape out and then the next can slowly come. No, this is like you have put stone in between. Okay, so then the liquid will take time to escape, correct? So that's the reason why this fractionating column has been used. Now what happens is, if you take two liquid, okay, let us understand about fractional distillation. I've taken here ethanol And the boiling point I've written on this side. You can see boiling point of ethanol is around 78.37 degrees Celsius. And boiling point of water is 100 degrees Celsius. Okay. So if two liquids are taken here, okay, when they prepare this ethanol, no alcohols through fermentation, chances are there is water molecules also present, and you want to separate water and ethanol. Then this particular distillation is used, fractional distillation is used. Okay, so both the liquid will be taken here, ethanol, and then water will be taken here. Okay, now see the temperature and tell me which one will come out first. When I heat both the liquids, okay, solution of ethanol and water is taken here. The boiling point of ethanol, you can see here 78.37 degrees Celsius, and water is 100 degrees Celsius. Okay, so when you are slowly heating it, which temperature will be attained first? 78 will be attained first, 78.37 we will get first, and afterwards it is 100 degrees Celsius. So this will take a long time. Yes, very good, correct. So 78.37 for ethanol will be attained first, because this much temperature is enough for alcohol to escape. So this alcohol will take that much amount of temperature, and they will start boiling and come out in the form of vapors. Here vapors will be formed of ethanol, and slowly they will pass through this fractionating column, and then you can see a condenser on this side, water outlet and water inlet. From this side cold waters are passed, okay, because you have them in the gaseous form. When you supply cold water, these molecules which have come in the gaseous form, they will lose their energy and come in the form of a liquid, and after that it will be collected into this container. Okay, and then thermometer reading is also seen, because when the boiling happens, no, at one constant temperature, initially you will see that the thermometer reading is going up. Okay, but once the temperature has reached, the boiling point temperature of ethanol is reached, you will not find the thermometer going up. Okay, it will remain constant for a certain while. That time you see that the liquid is coming out from this particular, okay, you can see here the condenser tap is there, no, through that you will see that the liquid continuously coming out. And then after the liquid has come out, then for a while you will see that the temperature again will go up. So by then this one liquid has already come out, okay, and the next liquid is remaining. So that will be the water one. Okay, so after 100 degrees Celsius is reached, this water can be collected. Okay, so that's how fractional distillation has been done. Okay, first the low boiling liquid will distill out, and then followed by the high boiling liquid. Okay, so at this time the mole fraction is there, no, the number of moles of ethanol and water is different. Okay, when the moles of ethanol in the gaseous phase and the number of moles of ethanol in the liquid phase will be different, only then the fractional distillation can be done. Okay, you can separate the two liquid. But now in the azeotropic mixture, what did I say? Okay, there what happens is both the liquid will escape together, because at one particular composition, remember, at one particular composition both the liquid will come out together. Okay, so that time you can't escape, like you can't separate them. They will start boiling with a constant temperature. Okay, so they are also called as constant boiling liquid. This is a Greek letter. Azeotrope stands for constant boiling liquid. Okay, and then you can't separate them through fractional distillation. You have to carry out azeotropic distillation. Azeotropic means at one constant composition, when they reach, you have to suppress one liquid and then allow the another one to come out. Okay, so that is azeotropic distillation which has been done. So in this case, azeotrope case, remember, at one composition, one specific composition, this happens where both the liquid will escape together. Okay, and you cannot separate them by a normal fractional distillation. How a fractional distillation is done is when you have a separate difference in their boiling point, one comes out and then the later will come out. Okay, but in azeotrope both will come out together. Okay, so now you have seen in Raoult's law there is a positive deviation and then there is negative deviation. So similarly, because it's a continuation of the topic, okay, this azeotrope is a part of this topic. So here you can see at one point you see that at this particular composition they are having maximum vapor pressure, and this composition they are having minimum vapor pressure. Okay, so we get two categories of azeotrope here. One is called as minimum boiling azeotrope and the other one is called as maximum boiling azeotrope. Okay, why it is called as minimum boiling azeotrope? Because at this particular composition, no, you can see more amount of vapors will be formed. Okay, the vapor pressure of the solution is very higher. Vapor pressure is higher. Why the vapor pressure is higher? Because the force of attraction between those two liquids are very less. Okay, you have seen that A and B, when you're mixed together, if their bonding is very weak, then more amount of gases will escape. Okay, if more amount of gases have escaped into the vapor phase, that means the amount of temperature required for us to boil will be very less, no? You can remember even one more relationship. Vapor pressure is inversely related to boiling point. Okay, or I can say boiling point is inversely related to vapor pressure. Suppose if the vapor pressure is very high for the solution, okay, boiling point is going to be very less. If more vapors have formed in the gaseous phase, that means amount of temperature required is very less, no? So boiling point is going to be very less for this. Okay, so it is called as minimum boiling mixture, okay, or minimum boiling, because maximum vapor pressure will be exerted by them. So this kind of azeotropes are called as minimum boiling azeotropic mixture. Okay, the one which shows large positive deviation from the Raoult's law. And the another one you are having maximum boiling azeotropic mixture. Okay, so in this case, when the force of attraction between the A and B is very large, okay, in that case you will see that the amount of vapors which is formed will be very less. So if the vapor formed is very less, that means the amount of temperature which is required for you to convert them will be very large. Okay, so at this case, when the force of attraction is very large, minimum vapors will be formed. So then temperature required for them to boil will be very higher. So they are called as maximum boiling azeotropic mixture. Okay, so these are the two categories of azeotropic mixture which we have got. One is minimum boiling azeotropic mixture and the other one is maximum boiling. Okay, so minimum boiling which is there, they show large positive deviation from the Raoult's law at one specific composition. Whereas the maximum boiling ones are there, no, they show large negative deviation from the Raoult's law at one specific composition. Example I have taken here, ethanol and water is one example. Okay, so like 95% of ethanol in 5% of remaining 5% of water, at this composition they come out together. Okay, and then separation becomes very difficult. At this composition you can't separate. This is a maximum you can do. And then I said you have to introduce a chemical, suppress this water. Okay, through some chemical reaction you have to suppress this water, and then you can again heat and then remove the ethanol. Okay, so that time you can attain around 99.99% purity can be attained. And in the maximum boiling, example is this, okay, nitric acid and water. So nitric acid and water at this particular composition, 68% of nitric acid and 32% of water. At this particular composition, they show maximum boiling, okay, because force of attraction is very strong, found to be very strong, and the number of vapors formed is very less. Yeah, you can make a note of this, students. Directly you can write down types of azeotropic mixture.